it's Lizzie. Today's video is about why it is not a sin for Catholics to go to Mass and not receive the Eucharist. Catholics do not need to receive the Eucharist every week. It is only required once a year. And in some situations, which I'm going to explain, it actually is a sin to receive the Eucharist. There has been a lot of drama lately in the US about the Eucharist. Our bishops are drafting a document about communion that will be released at the earliest in November, maybe beginning of next year. It hasn't even been written yet, but there is massive speculation around the possibility that Catholic politicians who vote in support of abortion could be denied communion. Within all of this discussion, there has been lots of misinformation spread by non-Catholics and Catholics about the Eucharist. The topic I'm going to cover in this video is the lie that it is a sin for Catholics to not receive the Eucharist every Sunday or Saturday vigil at Mass. That is completely wrong. And it makes me really sad because not understanding the complexities of when to receive the Eucharist, it's just downplaying the reverence of Jesus. So here is a list of the top 5 reasons to not receive the Eucharist at Mass. Number 1. If you have committed a mortal sin and not gone to confession about it, it is so dangerous for your soul to be receiving the Eucharist in that situation. What I've shared in so many videos and live streams is that if you think something might be a mortal sin, if it is grave matter, if you're questioning whether or not you should go to confession, just go to confession. If it turns out it really wasn't a mortal sin, it's better for your soul to just go to confession anyways. A lot of Catholics in this situation might even feel self-conscious and pressured to go up because everyone else is going up for communion. And they might think, wow, everyone is judging me right now because I could have gone to confession on Saturday afternoon. I didn't go on Saturday. That means I don't care about God. I don't care about Catholicism because I didn't go to confession when I could. My response to that worry is that it's actually an amazing, beautiful, and holy thing that you are setting an example to all the Catholics at Mass who see you not going up for communion. You are setting the example and sharing with everyone at Mass that you believe in the Eucharist so strongly and you value God so much that you're choosing to abstain from the Eucharist. You're communicating to all of them how highly you value the sacrament of confession. Also, the reason 99.9% of people will not be judging you is because there are barely any confession times in most cities at Catholic churches. Usually at each parish, there's only 45 minutes to an hour on Saturday afternoon. That's the only confession time. And it's totally understandable that you might have had something conflicting in your schedule to where you couldn't make it to confession. And so I really doubt that there's all these people who are judging you for not going up to receive the Eucharist. I think it especially sets a great example to children, teenagers, to new Catholics, to people who are in RCIA and in the midst of converting into Catholicism. Another thing to add on is that there are actually so many people who convert into Catholicism. And so if you're not going up for the Eucharist, people might also think that you're just not fully Catholic yet and you're in RCIA. So I confidently can say that 99.99% of people are not judging you. Number 2 reason to not receive the Eucharist at Mass. If you're at Mass on Sunday and the Sunday before you skipped Mass, you weren't at Mass, you broke your obligation to attend Mass, you need to go to confession before you receive the Eucharist. Just because missing Mass is grave matter, that doesn't automatically mean that every time you're not at Mass, it's a mortal sin. But because it is such grave matter, I would just go to confession anyways before receiving the Eucharist again. This also includes if you missed a holy day of obligation. Number 3, if you are super late to Mass. So if you arrive at Mass before the gospel reading, then you can go up and receive the Eucharist. But if you're coming to Mass and it's after the gospel reading, for me, even if it's in the middle of the gospel reading, I would not go up to receive the Eucharist. And this just sets a great example for everyone around you. If people saw that you came 15 minutes late to Mass after the gospel reading, and then you choose to not go up and receive the Eucharist because you were late, that also sets an incredible example to everyone at Mass that you value the Eucharist so highly, you value Catholicism so highly, that because you made the mistake of being late to Mass, you're abstaining from the Eucharist that Mass. Number 4, if you haven't fasted for 1 hour before Mass begins. So this does not apply to everyone. If you're under a certain age, above a certain age, have a medical condition, there are lots of exceptions for this, but for the vast majority of people, we are not allowed to eat food, drink coffee, drink soda, drink anything other than water for 1 hour leading up to Mass. A lot of people do not take this seriously. They say, we receive the Eucharist at the end of Mass, so I can eat food up until 10 minutes before Mass begins. Do not be like that. Originally, in the early church, in the Middle Ages, the fast was from dinner the night before up until attending Mass. So you couldn't even eat breakfast and you couldn't even drink water. The church has lessened, and I'd even say watered down, this rule so much by saying it's only an hour before. And so lessening that even more to 10 minutes before Mass is totally ridiculous. And so I would take this really seriously. There have been plenty of times for me where I haven't been paying attention, where I've been drinking coffee or eating past the hour, or let's say I slept past my alarm. I'm really, really hungry. I'm gonna eat breakfast. Otherwise, I'm gonna feel fatigued at Mass. You can just decide for that Mass, you're gonna eat food, and then you can just go to Mass on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and receive the Eucharist then. And like I said, there are loads of exceptions for this. I was an exception for a long time because one of my bipolar meds had to be taken with food at a certain time in the morning, which was less than an hour before Mass. And so because of my medication situation, I was an exception. So I'm not saying everyone has to follow the 1 hour rule, but the vast majority of people should. Number 5, if you have an illness or some pre-existing condition, or if you are a caretaker to someone who is really sick and immunocompromised. So over the past year and a half, dealing with the pandemic, there have been plenty of people who are elderly, who have some underlying illness, who have come to Mass but decided to not receive the Eucharist, just in the small, tiny chance that COVID could spread through the Eucharist. Just because of that small chance, because their immune system isn't working very well because of an underlying condition, it was completely okay for them to attend Mass, but to abstain from receiving the Eucharist. I did this recently. I was taking care of my mom in where we live in Florida, and I don't want to get into it because it's private, it's my family, but because of what she has, she's super immunocompromised. Like, she could die so easily if she got COVID or literally anything. And so when I was attending Mass there, I did not receive the Eucharist for like a month because, you know, in like the 0.0001% chance that I contract COVID or any illness through the Eucharist, I just don't want to run any slight risk of my mom dying. And because of her sickness, even though she did get the COVID vaccine, it did not work in her at all and didn't produce antibodies. So that's a huge reason to get the COVID vaccine. There are people like my mom who, even though they get vaccinated, the vaccine doesn't work on them, or if someone is allergic to one of the ingredients in the vaccine. So I highly encourage all of you to get vaccinated to save lives. I hope this video was super helpful. It's something that I learned in RCIA, so that's what I think. I think people who grew up Catholic, they didn't have as intense of an education that you get through RCIA. I will link below and in the end screen my playlist of 130 plus videos on Catholic theology. Thank you for watching to the end of the video. I love you guys so much. Bye.